Hey, cool. So, first and foremost with yoga, the thing is that we should never be doing postures if they hurt us. So, if you're experiencing pain, let me know and we can come up with a modification or an adjustment or just a different variation of a stretch. Or we can look for, a different posture to do for the same muscle groups. There's so many options, and pain should never be a factor when you're practicing yoga. Yeah, I know as athletes, we kind of tend to have a mentality that, oh, we need to push ourselves, or, oh, it doesn't hurt that bad, or it's not bothering me enough that I can't do it. But in yoga, it's really important to have just kind of a peaceful practice, and part of that means being kind to yourself, and that means not hurting yourself, and that means if you're practicing, there shouldn't be pain involved. So if you can, just try to keep that in mind, and we'll get started. So I always like to start low and slow, especially in the morning, especially if I haven't done anything else all day. But it's just good for you to just warm up slowly and ease yourself into it. So I always start with a child's pose, which is pretty popular posture. Should be relaxing. So you put your feet together and you kind of sit up on them, and you bring your knees to the edge of the mat. And then you just kind of like walk yourself down. And I think it's the best to have the arms overhead, especially if you're having back pain or shoulder pain. It's nice to just extend the arms overhead, but you do have the option of bringing them back by your sides if you like that better. But I would encourage you to try the arms overhead posture. And this is a really nice place to come and start because it's nice and easy. Gravity helps a lot. And you're just here to breathe, to focus on the breathing, to breathe really deeply. So you're going to inhale and fill up the lungs as full as you can, pressing their limits, seeing how much oxygen you can take in. When you feel like you have the most that's possible, you just hold it there, feel the fullness. And then exhale slowly, controlled breathing, letting your chest fall deeper toward the mat. Your face can rest on the mat. As you exhale, you can kind of even press your shoulder blades toward the mat if that feels good. You just take several breaths here to start off with. Just releasing the tension in the hips and the legs, the shoulders, and just focusing on breathing. Filling up and releasing out. Sometimes I'll spend even like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes here just breathing, relaxing, and feeling the different sensations in the body. And really take your time. This is a great posture. And if you feel overwhelmed or have pain at any time, you can always come back to this posture. When you're ready to move, coming up to tabletop should be pretty accessible. So that just means bringing the wrists below the shoulders and the knees below the hips, kind of like you made a table. And then from here, we're going to do some cat-cows. So again, yoga is about syncing the breath to the movements. So on your inhale, you're going to roll the shoulders back, sink the belly low, lift the gaze high. There's a C-curve in your lower spine. And on the exhale, you reverse that curvature, pressing up through the shoulders, curving the spine up, tucking the tailbone under. Do as many of these as you like to. You're just warming up the spine, preparing for movement, impact. And exhale. Just keep track of your breath and just notice the different sensations in your body as you do these stretches and these motions. You can do as many of these as you like, and even at this point, sometimes I like to do just some hip circles, or even just some back and forth. Just whatever feels good. You'll start to learn how to feel what your body needs as you're moving around, warming up. And then especially for the shoulders and the upper back, there's a cool little stretch called thread the needle. So we come to a neutral spine, which just means that we're not curving it either direction. Just nice and steady. And inhale, you're going to lift one arm all the way to the sky. And then on the exhale, you thread the needle, bringing it through the other arm. You just kind of rest. You relax onto that shoulder, onto that arm. And breathe. Again, this should not hurt. If it hurts, we can figure out an alternative stretch to do. You just breathe into this. There might be some tightness or some discomfort, and that's different than active pain. But just pay attention to yourself and what you need. I know some people who do this posture for like 5 minutes at a time. And if that sounds like fun to you, you could just pick a song you love and just zone out. And then when the song's over, you can switch sides. Back to tabletop. Right. And then we inhale, lifting that arm all the way up. And then on the exhale, just swing it through and rest on that shoulder. So a slight spinal twist. Just warming up the muscles. Actually, if you do choose to sit here for several minutes, it's really great for the deep tissues that are involved. It's called restorative yoga at a certain point when you just hold the posture. So that's a good option too. And we always inhale back to center. And there's another great stretch you can do on the mat called puppy dog. So you can see I'm just walking my knees back a little bit. I'm going to lay my arms out in front. You try to keep like a 90-degree angle with this upper leg part. Try to keep that perpendicular to the ground. But you just rest your forearms and you kind of like sink your hips back a little bit. Like anchor through your elbows and just sink your hips back, and that stretches out the shoulders, the upper back. And you're breathing here too. Nice deep breaths. If you experience pain, just take it back a notch. Just don't be so intense about it. Just rewind a little bit, relax a little bit. And again, you can hold this for as long as you like. The longer you hold it, the deeper into the tissues it goes. So if it feels good, yeah, try it out. Just hold it for a while. Anyway. So that's some good floor stretches, and kind of get me back on my feet if I'm doing this like first thing in the morning. I'll just press up to downward facing dog. So you tuck your toes under and you just send the hips high. And at this point you can walk your dog, meaning just like shifting the weight back and forth between the feet, swinging the hips side to side, stretching out the toes or coming up on the toes, and just feeling it out. Yeah, and then when you're ready for stillness, you just sink your heels as low as you can toward the ground. And you're pressing through the hands all the way up through the arms into the shoulders. And maybe you've seen dogs do this stretch actually, but they like press their upper body kind of close to their thighs, close to the ground, and they're just stretching out all that arm, all the way into the shoulder blade and the back. Let your head hang loose. Shake it all around. And then you walk your feet up towards your hands. They can be almost as wide as the mat, if you like that. You're going to grab opposite elbows and hang in ragdoll. Just like kind of blowing in the breeze a little bit. Sometimes I feel this in my hip bones, all up and down my legs. But the main goal is to stretch out the shoulders and the back. So you're bending at the waist and letting gravity pull your upper body down. Stretching out the space between the vertebrae. You can shake, wiggle, yes, no, the head. And just let gravity release the space in the back. Sometimes I like to suck my belly in and see if that lets my elbows drape even lower. And when you're ready, you can just kind of heel toe your feet closer together. There's just a little thing called mini sun salutations. So you fold forward, exhale completely. And on your inhale, Hands come to the shins, flatten your back. And you exhale, fold forward again. On your inhale, you reach high to the sky, stretching out. And then exhale, fold forward again. Inhale to a half lift. And exhale, forward fold. I like to do one more inhale all the way up. And then hands to heart center. And we have a variety of things we can do after this. There are some standing postures or kind of a quicker moving flow. So I'll probably stop this video here, and then you can make your choice if you would rather do some quicker movements together or some standing postures. Or there's also the option just to go back to the mat and do some core strengthening and other stretches.